Hey, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another transfer episode. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button if you're new around here to make sure you obviously always get these rumours as they come up, and obviously it's getting close to summer. You need to be in on this to make sure you are getting these. So anyway, we're starting off with Jordan Pickford. Obviously, I think he's had a really good season at Sunderland. Let's be honest, keepers can look good at bad clubs. They can, be prone to, obviously they're going to be saving a lot of shots or having a lot of shots certainly come at the goal, and they've got a chance to save a hell of a lot. But I think Pickford's still done well, even though, Sunderland have been that bad. And that's testament when 6 different Premier League clubs are all monitoring the Sunderland goalkeeper, who I'm guessing will leave. I'm guessing he won't stay and play in the Championship, although I don't think it would be a bad move to do so and, prove himself in terms of if Sunderland are going to be a good club and come back up and prove himself in the Championship. But in terms of like the 6 clubs, I can see them being West Ham. They probably will get rid of Adrian. I can see Everton going in for him. I can see lower teams like Bournemouth, who do need a long-term shot stopper. They might go in for Pickford. It depends who else survives as well. Obviously, maybe Swansea might go in for him, although I do think Fabianski's decent. Hull may go in for him as a long-term replacement. So there's a lot of clubs that may eventually go in for him, obviously depending on how the season ends. So next up is Michael Keane. Obviously getting linked to the move away. I think he came out, in fact I'm pretty sure he came out and said, he is going to leave Burnley at some point. And huge amounts of clubs have always, gone in and been interested for him. However, the most recent one is Jurgen Klopp is apparently closing in on a £25 million move for Keane, as he is apparently one of his #1 targets. So I don't know. I find it weird that they're going to go in for Michael Keane. Now, a lot of people have come up and said, Burnley done so well because they were such a really strong defensive unit as a team. Now, will Keane be able to handle the pressure almost of playing as a Liverpool centre-back? Because let's be honest, a lot of the time it is just the 2 centre-backs on their own, because the fullbacks do get forward a hell of a lot in Jurgen Klopp's formation. So it'd be interesting to see if he does make that move, if he can adapt to the style. Next up is what is still a Manchester City player. Let's not forget that in Mangala. And he's had a season at Valencia now, and this is just so crazy for me that Real Madrid are apparently lining up a shock move for Mangala from Manchester City. So obviously it's just a loan deal at Valencia. It's just so crazy. I can't really comprehend it. I can only think that Mangala is going to be like a backup at Real Madrid even. I don't know, but I don't see why they would want him when they've got Ramos, Varane, Pepe. They don't really need it. Even Nacho is a decent centre back, and it's just strange that they're going to go in for Mangala. Surely it can't be in terms of a first team perspective. Next up, Theo Hernandez having a great season at Alaves, obviously on loan from Atletico Madrid. He looks set to turn down a Prem move and also pretty much turn down Atletico Madrid and apparently go to Real Madrid. Now, I don't know whether it's the same in terms of the Prem, where them clubs don't want to sell to each other and all stuff like that, rivals, but it'd be mad seeing a Atletico Madrid player to go to Real Madrid again. It doesn't really happen that often where the top clubs sell to each other, in terms of Barca don't sell to Real, Real don't sell to Barca, Atletico don't sell to Real, and vice versa, all that type of thing. Obviously there's been a few big names such as Figo and Brazilian Ronaldo go, but it hasn't happened in a while, and it'd be mad for them to go in for him. They got Marcelo. I don't think they really need Theo Hernandez, but it could be a deal set to go down. Next up is Eric Dyer, constantly getting linked with the moves to Manchester United. We spoke about this in the past, and apparently what I'm reading is Manchester United are ready to test Tottenham's resolve with a £40 million bid, see if they want to be a selling club. Looks like Kyle Walker may be on his way out, and I doubt Eric Dyer would want to leave though. Alex Sandro's next up, having an absolute amazing season at Juventus. They're set to go for the treble, and Manchester City are planning a £60 million move for the Juventus left-back. £60 million is a lot of money. You kind of mentioned this in the comments in one of the last videos, how I couldn't see Juventus selling him. But then Juventus always seems to have a player lined up in terms of should they sell someone, they may go in for someone else who they've got an eye on. And, I think for Manchester City, £6 million is a lot of money, but it is a huge problem area. Alex Sandro is 25, 26, so he's got a lot of left in him. And can you imagine if Manchester City get Kyle Walker and Alex Sandro on the other side? That would be absolutely insane. Next up is Berardi. Obviously had a bit of a nightmare season, if anything. He's been injured quite a lot. Sassuolo haven't been doing anywhere near as good as they did last season. However, Chelsea are ready to make a £20 million move for the 22-year-old from Sassuolo. See if that will tempt them into selling one of their prized assets. Riyad Mahrez is next up. Now, this is a strange one. Apparently, he had an agreement to leave Leicester at the end of this season. I don't know whether, like, there were certain requirements. You know, if you were in the Champions League, you'd have to stay. If, you know, they got top 4 again, he'd have to stay or what. Or whether it's just a case of, I'm leaving at the end of next season. And that might have been part of the deal. I think he signed a new contract at the end of last season to try and stay. And that was probably an agreement in it. And I think he came out and said he's got an agreement to leave. So that may spark a transfer war in terms of Mahrez, who hasn't been that good this season. Or certainly not the standards he set himself last season, although no Leicester player has matched those standards. Next up, Sandro. He is playing for Malaga. And apparently Newcastle and Newcastle and Everton are linked with a £5 million move for the Malaga striker, Sandro Ramirez. So he's bagged, I think it's something like 12 goals and 12 assists this season for Malaga. He's done really, really well. And for £5 million, you cannot argue. At the end of the day, if you spend £5 million on a player nowadays and it doesn't go well, you just move him on and take a very small hit on a player in terms of how much is getting spent these days. Next up, Marco Reus. A bit of a strange one, this one. However, Manchester United wants to sign Reus from Dortmund. Apparently, he's one of Mourinho's top signings. Obviously, I think that depends on if they get the Champions League, where, you know, they pretty much have to beat Ajax in the final now to get Champions League, unless both, like, Liverpool and Manchester City slip up and Man U somehow sneak in there. So, Reus would be a massive signing if they could get him. I'm not going to lie, that would be absolutely huge for the Premier League and huge for Manchester United. Lucas Perez is ready to finally end his Arsenal stay. He's open to returning to Spain, with Deportivo La Coruña obviously expressing an interest in him. I think he will leave. Arsenal, you know, really haven't used him that much. Kind of a big sign. I think he paid like 14 million for him, and for him to leave, they'll probably take a big hit on him. Malcolm is next up. He's a young player for Bordeaux. I think he's only like 18, 19. I think they signed him from one of the Brazilian clubs, and he's looking for a move. Well, apparently he'd be interested in a Manchester United move. They've expressed kind of an interest, not on concrete, however they have been sniffing about, and he is open to that move. Obviously, you know, he's seen Manchester United come calling, and he's like, yep, I will quite happily go there. David Klaassen is next up. Looks set to move to Everton. They are apparently in advanced talks with the Ajax centre mid. He's having an absolute great season. The only blight is the fact that they look, at the moment anyway, that they're going to get beaten to that Dutch title by Feyenoord. In terms of like the European competition at the moment, Europa League, they've absolutely smashed it. I watched them play Lyon in the first leg, and he was absolutely amazing. So I think he'd be a good signing. I think he's well adapted to the Premier League as well. Mohamed Salah is next up. Liverpool are re-linked to the Egypt winger from Roma. They do need pace, that is for sure. Liverpool as a club have missed Mane so much when he hasn't been playing. And they do need another player with pace in terms of like to get behind defenders, to take players on. And I think Salah fits the bill perfectly for that. He's had a good season since he left the Prem. You know, he did obviously play for Chelsea at one point, and he's been really, really good form since. Next up is Semedo. Constantly getting linked a move to the Premiership along with his brother. Obviously, the Benfica, Semedo, Manchester City to rival Manchester United for the Benfica right back. So that may be another option in terms of both of them clubs, because I'm considering like both of them clubs will be going in for Kyle Walker as well. They both could do the right back, and I think Manchester City are probably more desperate in terms of needing the right back. Valencia's doing a good job for Manchester United. Semedo, I think he would be really, really good on the Prem. Big, strong, powerful, and very, very quick as well. Lucas Leiva looks like he may be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season, although he has been really, really good when he has come in. Brighton want the Premiership experience from the Brazilian, and I think that's a smart move, getting a player who's played in the Premiership for 10 years. He has that experience behind him, and he's obviously very, very versatile should they get injuries in terms of their small squad. And finally, we end on Zabaleta. West Ham are again expressing an interest in the Manchester City right back, but I have mentioned that one before anyway. So there you go, guys. Lots of big rumours going down. I'd probably say Reus maybe, or to be honest, probably Sandro would be massive in the Premier League as well, because I think Reus is a bit of a rumour at the moment. I can actually see potentially Sandro coming to the Premier League. So there you go, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure you do drop a like, bit of an extended version today, and I shall see you in the next one.